Good morning. Welcome, everybody. It is a privilege for us to stand before you, men and women who have served our country, performed your duty, and fought for the freedoms we enjoy today. We are eternally grateful to each of you, and thank you for your sacrifice and service. My name is Colleen Munn, the group leader of the new group, PA Stitchers of Valor. And Kim Templin, my sidekick that just left me, is the president of our Free Spirit Quilt Guild that got it started. Together, we will lead you through our first Quilt of Valor presentation. At this time, we're going to have the veterans of Vietnam Vets Post 52 post the colors. Tanner, with the Boy Scout troop from 228, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then Marlene Warner will lead in the National Anthem.
And salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Forward, halt. Left, face. Forward, march.
Good morning. I'm Kim Templin.
Please have a seat. This is you.
I just want to give you a little bit of history about the Quilts of Valor. The Quilts of Valor Foundation is a grassroots group of quilters from all across the U.S. In 2003, a quilter named Catherine Roberts had the idea of comforting veterans with quilts during the time her son was deployed in Iraq. Since then, over 160,000 Quilts of Valor have been awarded here in the United States, Germany, Iraq, and in Afghanistan. Our mission is to honor our service members and veterans who have been touched by war with Quilts of Valor. Thousands of quilters all over the U.S. work daily to create quilts to cover our veterans from all conflicts, including World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Quilts of Valor are awarded. They're not just handed out. These Quilts of Valor unequivocally say, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and the valor you showed in serving our nation. Now we would like to recognize all veterans who are in the audience. Please stand.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. You can have a seat. A quilt of valor is not a charity quilt or just a blanket. It consists of 3 layers. The top of the quilt, as you see up front here, the front of the quilt has many colors, shapes, and fabrics, and represents the communities and the individuals who have contributed to it. The batting, or the filling, is the center of the quilt. Its warmth, it represents our hope that this quilt will bring warmth, comfort, peace, and healing to the individual who receives it. The backing is the strength that supports the layers. It represents the strength of the recipient, the support of his or her family, our communities, and our nation. Each stitch that holds the layers together represents love and gratitude, and sometimes the tears of the maker. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to award the following individuals with their Quilts of Valor on behalf of the Quilt of Valor Foundation and the Pennsylvania Stitchers of Valor. This morning, we hope to bring them honor and comfort, that we may never know the depth of their sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America. As a gesture of gratitude from a grateful nation, we ask each of you to please come forward as Commissioner Chief Master Retired John Amato calls your name to accept your Quilt of Valor, and please bring your spouse or a close family member with you to help with the presentation. Ladies, you want to come up? John? You can read everything on here.
Okay.
Just
Our first recipient is Sergeant James J. Duratz. Branch of service, United States Army. Years of service, 1944 to 1947. He's a World War II veteran. January 1945 to December 1945, Asiatic Pacific Campaign, Philippines, with the 148th Infantry Regiment, 37th Division, the Buckeyes. January 1946 to November 1947, re-enlistment to Germany with the 1st Division Military Police. He has 2 Bronze Star medals, the Army Good Conduct Ribbon, the American Campaign Medal, Asiatic Europe Service and Victory Medal, the World War II Occupation Medal, Philippines Liberation Medal, Victory Commemorative, Presidential Unit Citation, Army Combat Infantry Badge, and 2 Battle Stars. James Duratz. Our next recipient is Philip Davis, who served in the United States Army from 1970 to 1976. He served in the 1st Infantry Division, stateside, and with the 1st Aviation Brigade, 7th to the 17th Air Cav, D Troop, in Pleiku Province, Vietnam. He attained the rank of Sergeant E5. His awards include the National Defense Medal, Good Conduct Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 2 Bronze Stars, Vietnam Campaign Medal with 1960 device, Combat Infantry Badge, Combat Ranger Certification, Vietnam Combat Gallantry Cross with Palm Citation for Valor, Expert Marksman Badge, and Overseas Bar. Our second recipient, Phil Davis. Our third recipient is Staff Sergeant Earl V. Corp. Everybody knows as Vince. Branch of Service, United States Army, time of service 12 years. Served in the 101st Airborne Division, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. 7th Army, Wildflecken, Germany. 3rd Infantry Division, Giebelstadt, Germany. And 25th Infantry Division, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. And I had the pleasure, actually, in Hawaii, of re-enlisting Vince on the Arizona Memorial, because when I was in the Army, we were stationed together in the same place. Served during Desert Storm, guarding children from terrorists going to school. He was stationed in Panama, Germany, France, Austria, Korea, Japan, and the Philippines. And he's here today with his wife, Anna. Our next recipient is Specialist 4th Class Patrick Tim. Rank, again, E4, Branch United States Army, years of service, 1968 to 1970. Patrick deployed to Vietnam for 18 months, extended his deployment to Vietnam to get out of the Army earlier, he writes. He was a gunner on a Quad 50 and a tank mechanic. He's a light weapons crewman, an automatic crew-served weapon. Specialist Patrick Tim. Next recipient is Corporal Harold W. Bierbauer, United States Army, years of service 1950 to 1955. He was a prisoner of war for 28 months from April 1951 to 1953. His job specialty, he was a machine gunner. His awards include the POW Medal, Good Conduct Medal, Army of Occupation Japan, National Defense Service Medal, Korean Service Medal and Bronze Star Attachment, Combat Infantry Badge, United States Service Medal, Korean War Commemorative Medal, and Ambassador for Peace. He's here today with his wife, Jean. Next recipient is Specialist 4th Class Howard N. Clayton. Branch of service is United States Army. Years of service 1965 to 1967 in Vietnam. He was injured in Pleiku, January 20th, 1967. He's a recipient of the Purple Heart, Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with Device, Vietnam Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and the Sharpshooter's Badge. Howard N. Clayton. Next recipient, Private First Class Sanford Brown. Branch of service, United States Marines. Years of service 3. He was in Vietnam from 1968 to 1969 and served 17 years in the Army Reserves. He was a combat engineer. His awards include the Vietnam Medal, the National Defense Medal, the Presidential Medal for Service in Vietnam, and he's with his friend Jackie Wood today. Thank you. Next recipient is Corporal James Reisinger. Branch of service, he served in the Navy and the Army. He was deployed with the United States Navy in Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom with the United States Army. He worked as a resting gear in the United States Navy and was with the military police and the Army. He's here today with his wife, Tony. Next recipient is Kim Ling Ling. Air Force, 4 years, and Kim says that she would rather not share her rank or what year she served. She fought in a war that would have been a nightmare for any woman. Chuck first. Next recipient, Corporal Charles Rudler of the 83rd Infantry Division, 331st Infantry Regiment, Branch, United States Army. He was a World War II veteran from 1943 to 1945. Years of service, 2 years. He was a POW 5.5 months. When he came home, he called the hospital in Cleveland where he thought Donna Mae was. She wasn't there, but was told that she had gone to Chicago for special training. He called Chicago and spoke to her roommate and told her he was coming. Donna Mae had not heard from him since before he was captured. The roommate told her they were taking her shopping, but really took her to meet up with Chuck. His awards, Prisoner of War Medal, the Purple Heart, and the European Theater Campaign Medal. Charles Rudler. Next recipient would be George Donaldson. Branch of service, United States Army, years of service 20. Spent 2 years in Vietnam. He was first year infantry platoon sergeant, second year 5-man team living with Vietnamese in our village, 13 years with the Crawford County Sheriff Department, 20 years as a service officer with the Disabled Veterans of America, and he has Agent Orange problems. Awards, the Soldier's Medal for Bravery, Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart, Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Army of Occupation Medal with Berlin Airlift Device, National Defense Service Medal, Expert Infantry Badge, Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with Device, Combat Infantry Badge, and Korea Defense Service Medal. George Donaldson. Thank you.
I don't know why everybody's taller than I am. For those of you who have never served, seen combat, or been in a war zone, such experiences are beyond our capacity to comprehend. But we believe that the quilt that is awarded to you today has the ability to offer comfort, healing, and warmth. We hope that when you experience dark times or need the warmth of a grateful heart, you will wrap your quilt around you so that it can provide you the comfort which has been sewn into each inch, and feel the expression of gratitude from those of us who worked to create this for you. Each Quilt of Valor is presented with a hug. The hug comes not from us alone, but also from every member of the Quilts of Valor family. Ladies, would you present your quilts, please, and get your family members to help you? Along with the quilt is a presentation case or a pillowcase and a certificate with the Quilts of Valor. The certificate says, "The Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it a privilege to honor you, though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice and service to protect and defend the United States of America. As an expression of our gratitude, we award you this Quilt of Valor."
As of today, the story of this quilt becomes your story. We hope you will keep this Quilt of Valor as a tangible reminder that there are thousands of men and women across this country who are forever in your debt, and it is our pleasure to honor you with it today. On behalf of the Quilts of Valor Foundation, those of us here today, and a grateful nation, with our deepest appreciation, we thank you for your service and commitment to our country. Please join us in expressing our appreciation to these wonderful men and women. Now let us retire the flags.
Left, right. Forward, mark.
Thank you for all for coming today. We have a booth over here where you can sign a quilt block that will be sewn into our next quilt top. We appreciate all of you coming, and when I got dressed this morning and got in my car and just freely drove down the road as I wished, I had no one else but you servicemen and women to thank for that privilege, and I think we all appreciate that, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for coming, and hopefully we can do this again. Good night. And thank you, Colleen Munn. You did a wonderful job, too.